The grand ballroom echoed with screams of outrage. Crystal chandeliers trembled from the force of a thrown chair, and the guests froze in shock. The Arab billionaire's daughter, Selina Al-Rashid, had just flung a priceless vase across the room, shattering it against the marble floor. Her eyes burned with defiance, and no one dared step forward. Every aide, every tutor, every bodyguard, frozen. Then a quiet, firm voice cut through the tension. "Selina, enough." All eyes turned to see Aiden Rourke, janitor and single father, standing at the edge of the room, mop still in hand from cleaning the lobby earlier. There was no fear in his posture, only calm authority that seemed impossible in the face of chaos. The daughter's smirk faltered for a fraction of a second. Aiden didn't yell, didn't threaten, didn't try to overpower her. He simply walked closer, his steady gaze meeting hers, and repeated, "Enough, Selina." For a moment, the room held its breath. The daughter who had broken every rule, scared every servant, and frustrated every adult in the billionaire's orbit, paused. And then, slowly, the impossible began to unfold. 3 months earlier, Aiden Rourke had no idea his life was about to collide with one of the wealthiest families in the world. His days were long, repetitive, and exhausting. Cleaning offices, sweeping floors, and managing the small responsibilities that came with raising his daughter, Elara, on his own. Money was always tight, sleep was scarce, and every day demanded patience, perseverance, and quiet courage. It was on one routine morning, while tidying the grand lobby of Al-Rashid Enterprises, that Selina entered. The Arab billionaire's daughter, beautiful, arrogant, and untouchable in every sense, stormed past him, her heels clicking sharply on the marble. Aiden had seen powerful children before, spoiled and unruly, but Selina radiated something different, a storm of temper, intelligence, and pride that could intimidate anyone. "Watch where you're going," she snapped at a secretary, tossing papers into the air. Her piercing gaze landed briefly on Aiden, as if measuring him, but she quickly looked away, dismissing him as she had everyone else. Yet fate, as it often does, has a way of drawing the smallest people into the most unexpected moments. That afternoon, while Aiden was cleaning the hallway outside the executive suites, he heard a shriek. Rushing toward the sound, he found Selina in the middle of a tantrum, knocking over chairs, screaming at a startled intern who had accidentally dropped her phone. Most adults would have fled or tried to scold her, but Aiden froze for a moment, assessing. Instead of anger, he approached calmly, speaking in a voice low, firm, and steady. "Selina, stop. It's not worth it." Her eyes widened at being addressed so directly. "And who are you to tell me what's worth it?" she demanded, her voice sharp, yet tinged with curiosity. "I'm just a man who doesn't want to see anyone hurt, including yourself," Aiden replied. His words were simple, but they carried a weight born from years of living with responsibility and moral clarity. There was no threat, no ego, only honesty and authority grounded in experience. For the first time that day, Selina paused. The storm in her eyes wavered, her fury clashing with the curiosity and respect she didn't expect to feel for this janitor. In that split second, the impossible seed was planted. A single dad, an ordinary man in the eyes of the world, might be the only person capable of reaching her. From that moment, their interactions became a delicate dance of testing boundaries, learning trust, and understanding that real authority comes not from wealth, status, or intimidation, but from courage, consistency, and integrity. Aiden didn't know it yet, but handling Selina's defiance would demand every ounce of his patience, wisdom, and moral courage, qualities that would soon be tested in ways even he could never imagine. A week after that first encounter, Selina's reputation as untouchable chaos made itself known once again. The Al-Rashid estate was hosting a private event for international investors, the kind of evening where elegance and composure were expected, and missteps could ripple across multi-million-dollar deals. Selina, true to form, had already caused multiple near disasters, spilling drinks, insulting a visiting dignitary's wife, and dramatically stomping out of a piano recital rehearsal. Every aide, bodyguard, and tutor tried to intervene, but none succeeded in controlling her tempestuous energy. Aiden, still new to the billionaire's world, was called quietly to Kareem's private office. "This time," Kareem said, voice calm but carrying the weight of authority, "I want you to handle Selina alone.
No tutors, no assistants.
Just you. She must learn restraint, and if anyone can teach her, it is someone who acts from integrity, not fear. Aiden swallowed. The weight of responsibility pressed on him. He glanced at the door and then back at Kareem. "I'll do it," he said, though uncertainty twisted his gut. Handling a child who could intimidate entire rooms of trained adults was unlike anything he had faced, yet he also understood the truth in Kareem's reasoning. Selina would respond to courage, consistency, and moral authority, qualities money could not buy. The ballroom was a storm waiting to happen. Guests arrived, laughter and music echoing off polished marble, but Selina was already at the center, arms crossed, a look of challenge on her face. When Aiden entered quietly, mop in hand from his earlier rounds, she barely glanced at him. Yet he felt the weight of her gaze, sharp and measuring, as though she was testing every fiber of his resolve. "Selina," he said, voice steady, calm yet commanding. "You are causing distress. It ends now." Her laughter was sharp, a weapon honed from years of privilege and rebellion. "And why should I listen to a janitor? You clean floors. You don't tell the Arab billionaire's daughter what to do." Aiden stepped closer, unfazed. "Because I will not let anyone, not even you, harm yourself or others. That is all that matters here." The room seemed to hold its breath. Guests turned, sensing tension, but none dared intervene. The standoff lasted moments, but in those moments, something incredible happened. Selina's defiance began to meet Aiden's patience and unwavering calm. His steady eyes, calm voice, and absolute refusal to escalate the conflict created a strange counterforce to her storm. Minutes later, after an exchange of sharp words and subtle tests of boundaries, Selina finally paused, her arms loosening, her breathing slowing. She didn't smile, and she didn't apologize, but she had listened, truly listened, for the first time in her life. Aiden had achieved what no one else could. He had broken through the armor of defiance with nothing more than integrity, patience, and moral courage. Later, as they left the ballroom, Selina finally muttered, almost reluctantly, "You surprised me." Aiden smiled faintly, kneeling slightly to her level. "Then you know what is possible when you try, Selina. Courage, patience, and doing what is right. These are things everyone can learn, even you." And for the first time, the impossible felt possible. The days that followed were a quiet storm of testing, patience, and subtle lessons. Selina, now aware that Aiden was no ordinary adult, began pushing boundaries in new ways. Sharp remarks, impossible demands, and carefully staged tantrums designed to test his patience. But every time, Aiden responded not with anger or punishment, but with calm authority and unwavering consistency. One afternoon, the Al-Rashid estate's sprawling gardens became the scene of Selina's next challenge. She had arranged an elaborate obstacle course for herself, claiming it was impossible for anyone else to complete. Guests, staff, and even her tutors watched, knowing that the last person who had tried had failed spectacularly. But Aiden stepped forward. "Selina," he said quietly, his voice carrying both challenge and encouragement, "I will guide you, but you must follow my instructions exactly. Safety, focus, and patience, do you understand?" Her eyes narrowed, a mix of disbelief and curiosity. "You? Guiding me? Good luck." Yet, as the course began, something remarkable unfolded. Aiden demonstrated each section with precision, explaining the reasoning behind every movement, every decision. Selina watched, initially skeptical, but slowly began mimicking his actions. When she stumbled, he didn't scold, he offered quiet corrections, subtle hints, and constant encouragement. By the end of the exercise, Selina had not only completed the course, something she had sworn no one could do, but she had done so with focus, discipline, and growing respect for Aiden's guidance. For the first time, she realized that strength was not just about defiance or privilege, it was about patience, understanding, and courage under pressure. That evening, as they walked through the estate, Kareem Al-Rashid observed quietly from a distance, a faint smile on his face. He had seen countless adults attempt to command Selina's attention and respect, all failing. Yet Aiden, a single father with no wealth or status, had succeeded not with force or fear, but with integrity and moral authority. Selina, sitting beside Aiden, finally spoke softly. "I didn't think anyone could teach me. But you did." Aiden glanced down at her, smiling. "Not teach you, Selina. I only showed you what you were capable of already. You just needed guidance, patience, and the courage to try. In that moment, a bond formed, one not of authority over a spoiled heiress, but of mutual respect and trust. The daughter of an arabbillionaire had finally learned that true power wasn't about wealth, influence, or rebellion. It was about character, discipline, and the willingness to listen. And as night fell over the estate, the janitor and the heiress walked side by side, the world of privilege and the world of ordinary courage quietly converging, preparing them for challenges far greater than any tantrum or obstacle course could present. It was a stormy evening when the true test arrived. The Al-Rashid estate had been hosting an international charity event, and Selina, as always, was restless. Crowds of philanthropists and dignitaries filled the grand hall, unaware of the brewing chaos behind the scenes. A miscommunication with the event staff led to a near catastrophe. A glass balcony panel had loosened above a walkway, and anyone stepping there risked serious injury. Selina, ever curious and impulsive, dashed toward the unstable area, laughing at the risk. Guests screamed and froze, unsure what to do. All the trained staff hesitated, paralyzed by fear, prestige, or protocol. Only Aiden moved, his instincts sharper than ever. "Selina, stop!" he shouted, his voice cutting through the noise like a blade. She spun around, startled, but the gravity of the situation hadn't registered yet. "Step back. Now!" In that instant, Aiden acted, not just as a protector, but as a leader. He reached her first, grabbing her firmly yet gently, pulling her from danger. The balcony panel creaked ominously above them, sending a shiver through everyone in the room. Some gasped, others whispered incredulously. The janitor, a man who had once cleaned floors unseen, had just prevented a disaster in the world of the elite. Kareem, watching from a distance, allowed a rare smile. This was the moment he had predicted, the real test of moral courage. Strength, guidance, and calm authority were far more valuable than wealth or status. Aiden had demonstrated all three in an instant, saving not only Selina's life but proving that true leadership arises from integrity and action under pressure. Selina, shaken but unharmed, looked up at him. Her usual smirk was gone, replaced by awe and something closer to respect. I didn't think anyone could," she stammered, voice quivering. "You're learning," Aiden replied quietly, steadying her. "Not everyone reacts with courage when it matters most. True strength is in protecting others, not in showing off." The crowd erupted in whispers and applause, though most did not know the full story. To them, it was a near miracle. To Aiden, it was simply a matter of responsibility and moral clarity. The single-father janitor had stepped into a billionaire's world, faced chaos, and acted with integrity and calm decisiveness. That night, Selina's behavior began to shift. Her defiance and rebelliousness softened, not entirely gone, but tempered by understanding and trust. She realized that actions had consequences, and that someone who operated from principle rather than power could command respect in ways money never could. Kareem approached Aiden afterward, placing a firm hand on his shoulder. "This is why you are here. Not for privilege, not for money. You embody what influence should be: ethics, courage, and responsibility. Never forget this lesson, Aiden. It will define you far more than any title ever could." And as Aiden and Selina walked through the estate, the storm outside mirroring the intensity of the evening, both understood that something extraordinary had been forged: trust, respect, and the invisible power of moral courage that transcends social class, wealth, or status. Weeks had passed since the near disaster at the charity event, and the transformation in Selina was undeniable. The once rebellious daughter of the arabbillionaire moved with a new sense of awareness and caution, tempered by respect for others and understanding of consequence. Yet the true test remained: a high-profile gala hosted by international dignitaries, media, and investors, where appearances and composure were scrutinized with relentless precision. As the gala commenced, Selina hesitated at the threshold of the grand ballroom. Her eyes flicked to Aiden, who had accompanied her quietly, offering calm reassurance without force. Guests whispered, some skeptical, some curious, but none dared intervene as the two approached. Aiden leaned close and spoke softly, "Remember what we practiced. Focus, patience, and courage. You are capable of greatness when you act with integrity." Inside, the ballroom sparkled with opulence. Chandeliers reflected off polished marble, orchestral music swirled through the air, and dignitaries navigated conversations like a carefully choreographed dance. Selina took a deep breath, feeling the weight of expectation, but also the guidance of a man who had taught her how to channel her energy for good rather than chaos. Throughout the evening, she handled interactions with poise, diffusing tense conversations with tact and even making several guests laugh with her charm. Every moment was a silent testament to Aiden's influence, his patience, and his unwavering moral authority. No one could have predicted that a janitor would have shaped the billionaire's daughter into a presence that commanded respect without fear. At the end of the gala, Selina Al-Rashid appeared beside Aiden. "You have done more than I anticipated," he said quietly, pride and approval in his tone. "You have not only guided her, but you have changed the way everyone in this world will see what true leadership and integrity look like." Selina approached Aiden later, her voice soft and sincere. "I never thought anyone could make me see differently. You taught me patience, courage, and respect. I can't thank you enough." Aiden smiled, his hand resting lightly on her shoulder. "You didn't need teaching. You just needed guidance and the chance to choose the right path. You did the hard work yourself." The evening ended with a quiet walk through the estate gardens, lights twinkling against the night sky. Aiden reflected on the journey, from a janitor whose days were filled with small, unnoticed acts, to a man who had earned the trust and respect of one of the wealthiest, most challenging children in the world. Ilara walked beside him, proud and inspired by her father's courage. In that moment, it was clear, true power is measured not by wealth, influence, or social standing, but by moral courage, integrity, and the ability to act rightly under pressure. The arabbillionaire's world was vast, opulent, and intimidating, yet Aiden had proven that even ordinary people, guided by principle, could shape extraordinary outcomes. True authority does not come from wealth, status, or fear. It comes from courage, integrity, and moral clarity. The janitor who stepped into the world of the arabbillionaire's daughter showed that leadership is measured by the choices we make when no one is watching, and influence is earned through patience, empathy, and ethical action. Even the most rebellious, privileged, or untouchable can learn respect, responsibility, and courage when guided by integrity. The world may idolize money and power, but it is moral courage that transforms lives, shapes character, and leaves a legacy far greater than any fortune ever could.